facts you need to know about the Punisher. The Punisher has become a comic icon for quite some time. With his anti-hero persona and tragic background, Frank Castle has remained just under the surface of mainstream audiences' attention. Now that The Walking Dead's Jon Bernthal is taking on the role of the Punisher in Season 2 of Daredevil, the mainstream audience may finally get to meet the Punisher like never before. Even though there have been several attempts at a Punisher's movie, none have captured this multifaceted character completely, and now it's Marvel Studios' turn to take a crack at this hardened character. So with the newest and perhaps best incarnation of the Punisher coming up, you'll need catch up on his story. So if you're interested in finding out some of the craziest facts about the work, please keep on watching. Number 7. Frank Castle is a Vietnam War veteran. One of the most interesting and useful aspects of Frank's character is his status as a Vietnam veteran. The time he spent in the war was at an indispensable time in his life. There, he learned and owned his skills and killer instincts. Frank learned combat tactics, vehicle operation, and firearm training. Most importantly, Frank was scarred by his time in Vietnam, just like many men who served in the actual war. Even though he thrived at killing and was highly skilled thanks to his training with Navy SEALs, Airborne School, and the Australian Special Air Service Regiment, Frank was conflicted about killing. However, his time spent training and killing directly led to his ability to take up the mantle of the Punisher once his family was murdered. It was thanks to his time in Vietnam that he was able to lead a one-man war against multiple supervillains, heroes, and mob families. Number 6. The Punisher is inspired by Mac Bolan's The Executioner. Mac Bolan is a famous character created by Don Pendleton, who has appeared in hundreds of books. These books are all about Mac Bolan's war against the Mafia and his adventures during his crusade against crime. Bolan is a Vietnam veteran who is known for his deadly capabilities but merciful tendencies. Being one of the most deadly snipers in the war, Bolan earned the nickname the Executioner. He also lost his family due to the indirect practices of mafiosos, and therefore dedicated his life to annihilating them. The parallels between Frank Castle and Mac Bolan are obvious, and almost completely lifted from the pages of his serialized novels. For instance, Frank is a Vietnam veteran known for his expertise as a soldier in almost all of his incarnations. He also had his family killed thanks to the practices of mafiosos. Frank earned his moniker from his ability to kill, but he got it during the war on the Mafia rather than his time in the Vietnam War. Number 5. The Punisher is an anti-hero. As we've discussed, Frank Castle does not hesitate to murder those he deems worthy of his punishment. The Punisher's use of murder and other illegal tactics in his pursuit of justice is what makes him an anti-hero. More so than most other anti-heroes, Frank has a well-established history of going against the law to accomplish his goals. In his first outing as the Punisher, he goes against the courts and takes justice into his own hands. Frank believes, for better or for worse, that the only way to keep a criminal from repeating a crime is by ending their life. Number 4. Frank Castle loves guns a bit too much. There are plenty of heroes and villains that have massive arsenals. A few notable ones are Batman, Green Goblin, and Iron Man. However, Punisher's assembly of guns is unmatched. Even those who are often seen with guns like Deadpool, Deadshot, Cable, Jason Todd, or Grifter do not come close to owning a comparable amount of firepower. In every iteration of the Punisher, Frank has always had hundreds of weapons. He has guns, knives, and tactical gear for just about every situation, and has employed each type of weapon at least once. In a behind-the-scenes picture posted to Instagram by Jon Bernthal himself, he stands in front of an arsenal of machine guns and rifles mounted on a wall, just like in the Punisher Max comics. In the comics, Frank is said to specifically love his M60 machine gun that he used in Vietnam, a modified M16A1 with a mounted M203 grenade launcher and a Gerber Mk2 knife. Number 3. There are two comic origins for the iconic skull symbol. If one thing has become synonymous with the Punisher, it is the white skull that always appears on his chest. The skull has been on his chest since his original incarnation, and has become a symbol for the punishment that Frank deals out to those who cross paths with him. The original Punisher from the Marvel Comics chose the skull while in Vietnam. While hunting an enemy spider named the Monkey, who rivaled Frank's skills, he was taken prisoner. After escaping, he decided to leave a message for the monkey by painting the infamous skull on the prisoner's chest as well as his own. After he defeated the monkey and returned home, this symbol was again used to let Frank's enemies know not just their own fate, but who would deliver the killing blow. In Punisher Max, the image of a white skull painted on a wall comes to him in a dream. The skull haunts him and reminds Frank of his ongoing internal war that forever rages on. With the tactical mind, especially of the Max version of Frank, he also uses the spray-painted skull on his chest as a distraction so that criminals will aim for that instead of his head. Number 2. The Punisher has died and come back. Like every other comic character out there, Frank Castle has met his demise in the pages of his comics. Also, like most other comic characters, he too was brought back to life. Unlike most others, Frank was brought back in 3 very different ways when he died. The most disliked way that the Punisher was brought back was when he became Angel Punisher. After committing suicide, Frank was chosen to do heaven's bidding as an angel. Eventually, he grows tired of this type of reckoning and tells the other angels to screw off. The next time the Punisher died was during the acclaimed Dark Reign storyline, in which Daken, Wolverine's son, dismembers Frank. Of course, this wasn't the last of Frank, as Morbius and Man-Thing reconstruct and revive him to form the renowned Franken Castle. In this arc, he worked alongside other monsters and was portrayed as a hulking monster with huge weapons. At the end of the Franken Castle arc, he was truly healed and brought back to the world of the living as he once was. Number 1. The Punisher killed the Marvel Universe. As an anti-hero, one can expect the Punisher to not always align himself with other heroes or even villains. But Frank Castle usually takes it a step further than that. In continuity, and outside of continuity, the Punisher has made some powerful enemies with some of Marvel's greatest heroes. There are certain heroes he admires, like Captain America, but for the most part, he rubs other heroes the wrong way. Most heroes dislike him for his murderous ways and disregard for law, but on top of that, Frank is often seen threatening others. One of the most famous versions of the Punisher pits Frank up against the entire Marvel Universe in the aptly titled Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe. In this story, he meticulously kills each hero and villain, beginning with Cyclops. In this version, Frank's family is killed when they are caught in the middle of a confrontation between the X-Men and Avengers. With nothing but rage and hatred for those he feels are responsible for his family's death, he begins killing everyone on both sides of the law. He ends his crusade when he finally kills his best friend, Matt Murdock, Daredevil.